Welcome everyone. Welcome to Drakenmemoria. What is Drakenmemoria, you may ask? Well, some of you might. It is about Dungeons and Dragons, and more specifically, this one is about a group of people playing Dungeons and Dragons. Speaking about people, as you might have noticed, there is one black screen in the party. That is because I was unable to draw Terranad before the stream started. Basically, the player playing Fisher has had a little health problem. Nothing relating to the pandemic. Don't worry about it. It's, from what I can understand of his explanation, an ear infection due to waxy buildup. You know, when you're using this little Q-tip and you think you're cleaning your ears, but actually all you're doing is packing the earwax really tighter and tighter and tighter inside your ears, and eventually it just hurts. Well, that's basically what happened to him, according to what I understood from what he explained. So, he will most likely not be among us for tonight. But he has assured me he will be there next week. If not, he will most likely be crying part of the week because it hurts like So
remember, kids, like when you read the box on those Q-tips or other like cotton swab products, telling you explicitly not to put it in your ears. Maybe listen to them.
Yeah, because there is a way to clean your ear with this, but it's not by sticking it in and just turning it. That's just gonna make things worse. So, fortunately for tonight, there will only be 3 of us and me playing as Terranad, taking over for Fisher, who, in game term, has rage quit because of the argument that him, Anvara, and audience were having just when the last stream ended.
Oh, audience had backed off. It was just those two. He was just trying to get them to fight each other.
All right.
What a leader.
Lawful Paladin is now the agent of chaos.
Nah, I just like a good brawl.
Yeah, there's nothing evil about this or chaotic about this. He's just making sure that they aired out their differences. It's what they do when you're in military organization. Just get you to talk. Use your fist. Get it out. Then go back on the battlefield and get killed. So
Nothing like a good fisting between comrades.
All right.
Nice start. All right. So, for those of you coming back from a previous session, it's a pleasure to have you all back with us. For those of you who might be new, welcome among us. It's a pleasure to have you with us. And for those who might not just be there just because they were bored and they just looked at for whatever was available with Dungeons and Dragons, well, it's also a pleasure to have you with us. And as always, thank you for those of you who follow us, because we're still trying to reach our 50 followers mark. And as always, thank you for Chaotic Calling, rating us every single week. It is extremely appreciated. And everyone sharing and liking, both on, well, not just both, but anyway, on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Thank you very much. It is, well, it's very nice to know that you are there and that you care about this. And please, share as much as you can. The more of you there will be, the better it will be, the more fun it will be, and the more you will be able to talk with friends in the chat, underlining the moments that you have enjoyed and the mistakes that we all make in Dungeons & Dragons. Because after all, We're all humans, even though we're not playing humans. Actually, there are no humans in this party right now. So, thank you to everyone, and let's get this show started. So, last week, as you have heard from the beginning of this show, the show didn't end on the best of terms. But before that happened, the party decided to go back in town and get either their boat fixed or a new boat. Which is basically what happened. They went to see a very kind gnome who had been helping them almost since the beginning of this quest. Gave him back his boat, broken, just like his heart was. But he started to try and repair them. While this was going on, Audience and Anvara decided to go into town and find a new boat. Meanwhile, Fisher and Raimi decided to confront the gnome about odd things which had been happening near the lake, in the lake. And because of things they were slowly uncovering, there was obviously an implication of the gnome in all that had been happening, and obviously Remy discovered that the gnome was hiding a bit of his talents to the group. But Fisher came in far too strong and extremely monotone, most likely because of how bad he rolled persuasion rolls, and came off as being a bully, blackmailer, judgmental,
Potential assassin.
yeah, almost. So the gnome did not answer pretty well to this, and sort of became a bit panicked. Even more when Raimi showed him what he had, elements that he was putting together to figure out what was going on and who was responsible for what. Even though they did a very poor job, they did manage a gnome to give them a means to explore the bottom of the lake, which apparently is a very good thing because I can't explore the bottom of the lake as Taran had, while everyone else is just waiting on the boat. So, turns out it's a good idea. The gnome needed a few hours. He went back into town. Raimi stayed there for a while. Then Anvara and Audience joined the group back. And everything fell to pieces, with everyone pointing fingers at one another for what had been happening. Audience was a bit upset that the gnome was fearful of him now. Fisher tried to defend himself. Anvara joined in and eventually ended up being a verbal slugfest between Anvara and Fisher, fueled by Audience's encouragement. And so Remy decided to just slip away and let this cool off while the gnome finished building what he was going to build to help them explore the bottom of the lake. And this is where we come back. Fisher has simply decided that he was too angry with Anvara and a bit with Audience because he was fanning the flames of this argument, and decided to just go wait for everyone in the cart and seemingly just turned himself off. But he did have a brief conversation with nobody, apparently, just before it happened. Meanwhile, Remy, I would imagine that you have decided to come back to the hut of the gnome since it's been 2 or 3 hours, as the gnome said you would need to build this, or are you just waiting there for everyone to come back, not knowing if anyone actually has noticed your disappearance because you were so silent and stealthful in leaving?
I mean, honestly, I like to imagine that Rainey, while still in his room, just peering out the window and just watching the fight unfurl and just kind of like keeping an eye on the gnome. Just like, you know what? I can see everything from here. I don't have to get involved.
All right, but once you see that Fisher has left the group and went pouting inside the cart, and the gnome is slowly making his way back to his home, what would you do?
Well, I guess if because the cart's still near the inn, or has that been moved?
No, I believe the cart was near the house of the gnome.
Okay, just making sure. Just like yeah, just like seeing things that are finally like progressing? Question mark. He'll just like he'll leave his room and start heading back toward the home.
All right. So after a little while, audience in Anvara, you just see Fisher storm off, mad, going toward the cart, sitting down, having a talk with most likely Taranab, looking upset, and then just shutting down.
Okay.
Um, Go ahead.
Okay. I'll turn to you and I'll be like, well, maybe we pushed him a little far.
My sisters were right. I should have never left the coven. This is garbage.
The coven? You mean like the coven of witches? Or the
No, the couvent. In French we say
Convent.
couvent.
Convent, not covenant.
Is there something
It's-
about your
it's re-
backstory you'd like to open up to me about?
Admittedly, they're very close in word.
Not in philosophy. In
Yeah,
D&D
like-
term, it would be a convent for priests and priestess, and the other one is for warlocks.
I was about to say, did I say cleric when I started? I meant celestial warlock. My bad.
The big reveal, folks.
I should have never left my convent.
No,
My sisters are right.
it's fine. He's just being a little salty. That's not a. He's upset.
Remy walking from the inn, just like waving his hand up high.
Oh, what's up, Remy? I didn't see you dip out.
Just mix a rainbow.
All right. Well, we have the boat. We have a sulking machine. So how do we proceed from this?
I mean, I think we wait for the breathing devices. That,
True.
especially if we have a sulking machine that might be less than willing to help us out.
Well, last time there was a Terranat did take over for Fisher, so maybe you can coax him into coming out.
I mean, I'd rather explore the deep myself anyway, but
All right. Well, maybe he'll awaken in due time. Seems to be his thing.
yeah. Awaken when we
Like-
need him most.
Yeah.
Look to the card on the 5th day or something.
Just caked in dirt. Shit hasn't moved.
That's I guess Rainey will point at audience and Anvara and minor illusion the gnome. Then he'll point to himself and to Fisher, and he just like turns and start walking toward the cart.
I think he's saying he doesn't want him or Fisher to talk to the gnome when he comes back because he feels that's what I'm going to try to get from that.
Don't think that Fisher would be intimidated by a gnome. Guess we'll have to do it then. Just a second. My window is open and it's banging the doors. Also, my hair is killing me, so I'm just gonna dip for like 12 seconds.
For a moment, you see Anvara look up, become distracted.
I mean, it is windy right on this day.
Yes, yes, it is. It is actually. So actually, you'd see probably more Anvara take a moment to tie her hair up, make sure that it stops blowing in her face.
Forgive the Yushenka. It's the only hat I have.
All right, can you hear us well with this?
Yeah, yeah, I hear you fine.
Okay. All right, so it takes a few moments, and you see the gnomes coming back, and he seems to have a basket filled with different materials. Some looks like pieces of metal. There looks like to be a bit of wood, a few components that you're not sure what they are. He just comes back and, oh hi. Yeah, I'm just going to I guess he talked to you a bit. So I'm just going to go behind, finish making this. All right, bye. And he leaves with his basket full of things.
I'll shut after him. Don't worry about it. Take your time. We're in no hurry.
All right. So it just takes a few moments, and you end up hearing a few odd sounds, metal grinding, something being cut, then something being screwed together. Maybe it takes 10. Actually, I think it would take 10-20 minutes to do everything. Is there anything you would like to discuss among yourself during those 20 minutes, or we jump directly to the end of it?
I don't think anything important, at least for me. Mostly small talk.
Okay.
And Raimi is just plopped in front of Fisher. Just like sitting cross-legged and right in front of his body. Just kind of like head cocked. Maybe occasionally waves his talon hands in front of him.
All right. Then maybe after doing this for a few moments and 10-15 minutes has gone by, and you're just there and you're looking at him and you're just waving your hand and touching him, and then suddenly it goes boo.
A loud squawk.
And you hear the not voice of Fisher, but the different voice that you've heard before. So I was sure you're gonna get a bit used to doing that, and then all right, that's cool. You wouldn't have to have anything like grease on you, would you?
Just Cox's head. Actually, I need to double check my inventory now that I'm thinking about it. You might actually have oil.
Oh, that could be good.
Actually, yeah, he does have a flask of oil.
That is grease.
Just kind of pulls out a flask of oil from his bag and cocks his head.
Would you mind letting me dab his finger in it once or twice?
Just kind of shrugs. uncocks it and like presents it to his fingers, I guess.
You see him dab his finger in it, then just look at the consistency. Well, it's gonna be a bit runny, but I think it's gonna be good. If I remember correctly, you can take mental pictures, can you?
He nods.
Alright. He dip his finger in it one more time. And, alright, what can I use as a reflective surface? Oh yeah, his axe. Puts the axe in front of him, and he starts painting on Fisher's face. Mr. Pooh face. Take a picture.
Just studies it for a moment, and then just minor illusions, a replica of it.
Yeah, you show it to him when you have time next time.
Get to know our super smart, super old AI is also a middle schooler.
Yeah,
That's comforting.
Since when is Terranad fucking 12 years old?
Since he is being stuck, being the slave of a person who seemingly has problem being the slave of someone.
This multi-millenn, like, come on, man, whatever. Sure.
All right, good. This is gonna be fun one day. So, when is that gnome coming back? And we slide back to the gnome, who is appearing from behind his hut with his basket again. And yeah, I think could you? And he points toward you, audience. Could you come back down, Neil? My level.
Yeah? I'll come over and I won't kneel because I don't kneel, but I'll squat.
Okay. Oh well. Okay. Yeah, I guess that works. Hold on. And he reaches in the bag and he gets out some sort of a huge mask that covers all of your mouth and your nose, and he just places it on you, and here you go. And give me a bit of resistance because it has to go in all the way. There you go. Oh, I'm gonna let you tie this behind your head. You just have to use the leather strap and strap it real hard, because if water can come in, it's not gonna work well. Yeah, that's it. That's right. Turn around. I'm just gonna see if it's been tied properly. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Alright.
Seems to fit. The color is not you know, but I had limited time to work with this. Black and purple, it doesn't really suit your natural color, but underwater, no one's gonna notice. All right, your turn, Miss Elf. Don't worry, yours doesn't have a nose that is as long as his. And for you, it just looks like a winter mask that covers your nose and your mouth. Just straps it in. They're going to help you breathe underwater. They'll only work for one day. If you have to stay down there for more than one day, you're gonna drown. So you have to come back up. And then he goes toward the cart, and Raimi, you do see the gnome arriving slowly. Yeah, and he turns around and looks at the at Fisher. Yeah. Did you do that? He looks at you, Remy.
Shakes his head.
Okay. Well, I've heard about people punishing themselves, but that's a very different thing. Here you go. And he takes.
This is probably the most awkward one.
Yeah, it's the one that the nose is the longest, And, well, I made it special for you because, you know, you have the oddest shape of face. So, go ahead, put it in. Just don't be afraid. You have to squeeze it all the way in. It's gonna feel a bit tight at the end of your nose. But it has to be there because if it's not really tight, the water's gonna get in and you're gonna drown. And turn around, you're not as big as the other big one, so I can fasten the leather around it. And alright, here you go. Good. So like I told your friends, it lasts for 1 day. If you have to stay down there for more than that, you're gonna drown. So it only works for 1 day.
Amy nods, and then he makes a rainbow.
Yeah. Well, you know where you're gonna go. The light doesn't reach that deep, so it's there's gonna be color missing in your rainbow. But I get the idea. And you look
So is
awkward.
that how we check fathoms now? Just to make sure how deep we've gone, we just check how much of the red we can see on the rainbow to check depth.
Well, oddly enough, the red is gonna disappear really fast.
Hmm.
And be replaced with the red of our blood. Oh wait, no, I mean
The red of their
Positive.
blood, you mean?
It's gonna be blue for a bit.
All right. So he looks a bit awkwardly at Fisher before leaving, and looks at you, Remy. Looks at you, Remy, and all right. Well, good luck. I hope you succeed. I have no idea what you're gonna find in there, so let me know how it ends. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Okay. Let's not get murdered.
alright. Well, we'll put the boat in the cart and we'll head back to the lake.
All right.
Yep.
So as you Anvara and audience notice, Terranad seem to have taken over for Fisher, and you can't really read really well what's written in the face of Fisher right now because it was a bit smudged, but you still can read Mister and face on it. The word in the middle seems to have faded a bit, but
Alright. I will ignore it, because I assume it's just Terranad.
It's like, of course, Fisher is the face of the party. Obviously.
he's
Fisher
Mr.
needs a
Face.
Call of Cthulhu sheet so he can jot down sanity for when Terranat takes over or not.
All right, so as you get in, so apparently we're all going into the depths.
Yes.
Yes.
It's been a while since I walked on the water like this. But at
You
least.
can walk.
Sorry?
You can walk on water.
I said underwater. But with the
Oh,
right spell,
I
it's
said-
gonna work also on water.
I thought you said on water. Guess it's a Yushenka.
Yeah, well, you know, it's your hair. You've just bundled them up around your ears. It's not gonna help for your hearing, you know. Yeah, I know. It's a.
Alright. I'll alter him. I'll be like, well, first we got to get the boat actually out back to the middle of the lake, so it'll be a few hours still.
Yeah. I guess you're gonna want me to help with that.
If you could.
Well, it's more a question if he can. Most of my capabilities, which when he's not there, I can use freely, so that's always better than it was before. But yeah, he just looks, and I think it's not gonna be a problem.
Glad to hear it. All right, everyone ready to go?
Yeah, let's do this.
Raimi nods.
Okay. Well, it's your cart. So, take the cart and slowly make your way back to the edge of the lake. It takes, again, about an hour and a half, between an hour and a half, to reach the side of the lake. You take the boat, put it in the water, and starts rowing. Fortunately, the wind dies down because right now you are, well, reaching noon, I'd say. 3 hours to wait for the gnome. Yeah, it's a bit past noon when you get to the lake. So the wind dies down a bit. The heat starts picking up also. But no cloud. Good day for day on the water. No chance of rain with little dollops of cloud like this floating in the sky. So it takes a good 4 hours to row to the center of the boat, center of the lake. The boat doesn't take that long to get to the center of the boat. All right. Are you paying attention to what is going on around you, or are you just rowing there and then stopping and then all jumping in?
I would be paying attention because of what happened last time we were out on a boat.
Yeah, vigilance would be pretty wise at this point.
All right, then someone can roll for perception, and he can be help, or she can be help.
Remy, you want to roll for perception?
It's like, you know, you're twisting my arm, but it's like I won't say no to that. Well,
And you can roll with advantage because at least one person is helping you.
With a 24.
Yeah. So most of the ride is pretty uneventful. It easily looks like the lake is a bit deep, especially after an hour or two of rowing. You do realize that, oh well, I can no longer see the bottom of the lake. After 2 hours, start having trouble seeing the beaches on all sides. You are quite evidently very far off.
Actually, at a certain point, he also would have had resummoned.
As a squid, all right. So
No, it's an octopus. Don't get it twisted.
octopus. Yeah, of course.
Not, I mean, both are weird to be found in this lake, but
No. I know the difference. I know the difference in shape. So, your octopus is going a bit ahead, seeing what happens, and then coming back. After 3 hours of rowing, taking a few moments to rest and then start rowing again. Well, actually, I'd say it's most likely audience and Fisher rowing, because they're the one with the highest strength.
and then Raimi's just helping with, and Raimi are helping to navigate the boat to where they last saw the.
So you have Raimi at the front of the boat, just looking around and this way, man. Well, audience, make a athletics roll, please. It's just to see if you get there faster or slower.
That is going to be a 15.
15. All right. Well, you do notice that you have to readjust the course because there is more than a 5-point difference between what Fisher rolled and yours. So you are deviating slightly to the side of the one who is rowing slower. But all in all, you get there maybe a bit faster than you expected. So maybe after 2 hours and a half, nearly 3 hours, you eventually figure out, well, we're almost at the center of the lake. And this is when Raimi, especially with the help of Twinkling Bell, I'm hearing something. It's sort of like a fan just started.
Not on my end.
Okay.
I don't have a fan.
All right. No. It happens. Helps to add to the mystery. All right. So after this moment, you do get to a point where your familiar transmit to you the uneasy feeling that he had the first time that you sent him to as close as he could to the center of the lake. It's really one of those feelings that makes your skin crawl, that raise the hair at the back of your neck, and just there's something unsettling about this place.
I'm guessing we're near the center.
Guess it's time to explore.
All right. So what do the how do we split off expedition teams? Do we just all go down, or do we keep 2 up, 2 down?
Probably safer for us just to move as a pack.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. I have a mask on. I'll talk like this the rest of the time. No.
You can if you want to.
My voice suddenly gets a lot deeper. It's not.
Which audience kind of digs, you know? Oh man, I sound like my father. That's cool. Everyone loved him. All right, so you all.
Meanwhile, Raimi can't really utter sounds since his beak is just essentially duct taped together inside the mask.
Maybe
Alright.
just kind of like holds up one of his talons.
All right.
Points at you, and you hear the call of a raven in your head.
Right.
God damn it.
I forgot he did that. You haven't done that in a bit.
Alright, let's head down.
All right.
All right, you see Terranad get up. Well, Fisher get up as Terranad controlling him, and he just walks off the boat.
So we
Alright.
hang on to Terranad to sink faster.
I will draw my sword and I'll hold it out to Anvara and be like, "Could you cast light on this, please?"
Yes, I can. And I will do just that.
And your sword lights up as a beacon of hope in the middle of the dark.
Yep. Well, not
He
yet.
looks more
But
nervous.
then I will. But then I will follow Terranad off the boat.
You jump in. Anvara and Remy?
I will follow. I'll take my chain shirt off real quick. Just dump it on the boat. Not gonna take time to put it away and jump in after him.
Okay, Remy?
Like he won't quite jump off the boat, but he will like set himself into the water to like look for comfort, and then just like dip down in.
So basically, you're the one that walks out of the boat the most awkwardly. But because Anvara is taking off her shirt, you are most likely the one who is jumping next to last, and then Anvara at the end. So
Yep.
the sinking order is Fisher, Audience, Remy, and Anvara. So,
Yep.
as you're all sinking deeper and deeper in the water, it doesn't take very long for you to feel the cold of the water and slowly see the light disappearing. After maybe 20 feet, 25 feet, you start losing the brightest colors. The sky suddenly gets slightly darker. There is life in this pond. You actually, in this lake, you see a few long fishes, weird fishes you haven't seen before, but it's alive with different things. There's a bit of sediment floating everywhere, so it's gets darker easier. After maybe 30 or 40 feet of falling, you start a bit feeling that pressure of water. It's a bit uneasy, but you do feel like the protection that you have does help you compensate and still helps you breathe. Anything you'd like to share among yourselves as you are slowly falling and falling deeper into the dark, with Audience serving as a light in the middle of this nothingness?
I'll try to call out to Raimi to see if he can hear me talk. Like, can you hear me when I talk, like through the mask and through the water? Because I don't think I don't think this thing really helps when it comes to like communication.
Well, water carries sounds better than air.
Fun fact.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. The mask was apparently like tight as shit, also around their faces.
Well, for you, it would probably the one that for whom the mask is the least awkward to function with, because you have a humanoid face very similar to that of a human. So it's basically just like wearing a mask right now, except that
Oh,
it's
okay,
really
gotcha.
tight around your mouth and nose. For Audience and Raimi, it's probably more awkward because they both have a very long mouth and nose. So
Yes, I'm sure the mask is what makes it awkward for Raimi to talk. Uh,
Yeah,
right.
that beak isn't opening anytime soon.
All right, I'll try to call out to audience. Hey, can you hear me? Can you talk back?
you're only a few feet above him, so most likely. Probably if he takes his sword and swing right above him, well, actually, he's gonna catch Remy, but.
I'll
That
shout
look of
back.
that look of betrayal.
I will say yes. I can hear you.
All right, perfect.
The sound
Just
does
making
sound
sure.
a bit muffled, but you can distinguish what he's saying.
All right, perfect. I just want to know now instead of 150 feet deep if we can hear each other or not.
So as you keep on falling, you after another 40 feet, 50 feet, you're reaching at that point just beyond 60 feet, and you start losing all of the bright colors. Everything around you is just green, blues, a little bit of purple. You still can't see the bottom of this. Audience, you do see Fisher that just keeps sinking and sinking. And because he's got no air inside of him, he's sinking faster than all of you. So you're having trouble
It's just a dead weight.
Yeah. So he falls in much faster, while you all have to. Well, actually, audience, you are carrying enough metal on you that you're probably sinking on your own. So, Anvara and Raimi, you are not carrying that much metal, so you most likely have started to swim to keep up with everyone. Head first, swimming down. While you're just
And
looking at audience, just sinking and sinking and sinking.
am I wise enough to like just exhale my breath and like hold myself straight so I can sink it down a bit faster?
Well, I'd say yes, you've swam before, but you're not gonna be able to just exhale and just hold your breath and keep on sinking like this.
No, I know. I mean, like for like little intervals to help me like catch up with the others.
I'd say
Randy,
yes,
definitely want to start.
but if you want to do this, I'd go with make a Constitution save for me,
That's
because you're
save.
yes, because you are holding your breath while doing physical exercise.
Yeah, that's fair. 16.
All right. You do feel that it is taking more out of you than usual. You would be normally confident that you can do this without feeling exhaustion, but most likely because of you that keeps changing your rhythm of breathing, it gets harder and harder, but not to the point of gaining a point of exhaustion.
All right.
Remy, anything you'd like to say? Fortunately, because you are with Twinkling Bell, you can probably from time to time take on his eyes and suddenly get a better understanding of what is around you. But there is the huge shining light of audience below you that is acting as a good light source also.
Yeah, he's definitely using as much will as he can to keep swimming closer to audience. At some point, audience, in your head, you hear, "Hi, hero."
I'll assume it's Remy.
Well, there are no woman speaking like that in the group toward you. Other, you've never heard Anvara say this to you, so yeah.
Yeah, very safe bet.
So you just keep on swimming down and keep on falling deeper and deeper. It's starting to be a bit harder to see how far you've fallen down. When you look up, you've lost the where the boat was. You're not sure. Everything is a bit blurry. The sun is getting to be much more difficult to see. There's less and less light the further you go down. Eventually, however, you do manage to touch the bottom of the lake. You fall to the bottom and your feet just slushes in with all of the sediment, and you find yourself looking at odd fish around you, and not alien fish. It's not deep enough to have fish that emits their own light, but still, it's usually not the kind of fish that people will fish out. Their fishing line don't reach 100 feet down. But you are there, and you do feel the pressure of the water around you. It's sort of like as if someone was pushing on your body at every direction at once. You even feel this little bit of popping in your ears. Something you've actually never felt before. But there's a lot of kelps growing, algaes, fish. It's surprisingly calm. There's not much sound. You do see Fisher, who is already there. Terranad looking through his eyes, looking toward you and just waving at you, giving you a thumbs up.
I'll give a thumbs up back.
Sorry, I gave a thumbs up pretty close to the camera. I think I went out of focus.
Audience will mutter to himself, I hope these masks work. They weren't one of Bad Gnome's experiments.
You never know.
Yeah, they're lined with lead, which has been breathing lead fumes for like half an hour.
Yeah, it's and there's a little bit of asbestos.
Nice.
Listen,
Lead poisoning and lung cancer. Let's go.
wouldn't affect audience that much. Okay.
Well, yeah. Well, you'd have trouble breathing, but you wouldn't develop a disease out of it because you're immune to disease.
I like to think that that audiences' white blood cells are actually like the shape of like tiny audiences, just stabbing any any disease that enters his body.
His immune system is just so strong, just like a vulture's.
Yeah.
If
You guys are going to get colds from this. Well, Fisher's not. From being in the cold water for too long, I'm going to be fine.
Well, you are
Imagine
going to
unless
be
you're
cold. You're
restoration
just going to
myself.
get a cold.
To be fair, though, it's like there is a certain amount of insulation that comes from feathers, but
But on
I don't know
Vara,
about
sorry, you're
underwater.
fucked.
I don't know about underwater. They're not, unless you're a water bird.
You're not a duck. You're a crow. So, a few moments after, Remy, you do catch up with audience. And, you have a bit of buoyancy. So, the moment that you stop swimming toward the bottom, you do notice that you start slowly going back up again.
just like just sends back down. but then he realizes like, hey, you know what? This is kind of like flying.
Well, what you would imagine to be flying, anyway.
Yeah, and suddenly he just like stops. He's like, okay, I'm okay with this.
And of course, there is the silence. You can just hear a little bit of water moving from time to time, but you don't hear any birds, you don't hear anything else. It's just silence. And a few moments after, Anvara reaches the bottom also. You are less buoyant than Remy, so you have to make less effort to stay down, but still.
I can just keep like 2 full water skins like to my hips to keep me like anchored.
Can I hand my money pouch to Remy to keep him from floating upwards?
Of course you can. So
I trust him.
So you are handed a bag the size of a small pumpkin filled with cash.
You'll hear audience say, "This should keep you weighted down, so you don't have to waste too much energy swimming."
Oh god, it's like incidentally, can they see Remy's eyes just shine briefly at this huge bag?
Does anything shine at this depth?
Well, there is this little
I
moment.
mean, I'm holding light, so I have light.
Yeah, true. That's fair.
Yeah, but you can see yeah, but this is the thing. You can see eyes shine because of the water on it. Well, now there's water everywhere. So
Yeah, so just like I guess unbeknownst to the party, Raimi is just super excited. But he does tie this bag to his body.
All right. So you tie the bag to your body, and you see Twinkling Bell just going around you, and you also
He
see.
will.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say you also see Fisher, Taranad to Fisher, just bend down, take a rock, cast light on it. So you have 2 light sources now.
Okay.
Yeah. So Raimi will just like turn to. Yeah, you'll turn to, and he will communicate body bind.
All right. So you see Twinkling Bell just go and start swimming in a direction.
Raimi will point in that direction and start going to follow him.
Alright, I will follow.
All right. Everyone make a perception roll, please.
Easy nat 20, guaranteed. Nah, I got a 13.
Okay.
It's gonna be a
So,
12 for
okay.
Angara.
Rolled another 24.
Fucking expertise.
Yeah, well, you know. Rogues and
I should
bards.
talk-
Rogues and
I
bards.
shouldn't talk. My next class is a bard, so
So, Remy, you are the first one who gets this feeling, this uneasy feeling all around you. It's. You can't pinpoint it. You don't. It doesn't feel like something's watching you. You just feel like you're walking in what is going to be a nightmare. That sort of uneasy feeling.
I called Cthulhu 3 sessions ago. I just want to point it out.
isn't it weird? I mentioned Call of Cthulhu just earlier too, man. This is not looking.
Like, Raimi does start to like physically show that uneasiness.
Well, with everyone perception roll, because I also rolled for Fisher, who actually rolled a 13. I'd say no one really notices your uneasiness for now. But do you keep on going?
Well, he
You are leading the way. It's Twinkling Bell that knows where this is.
quick roll here. Okay, Raimi's feeling brave today. Just feels uneasy, but he presses forward, knowing that the one person he can truly depend on is there, literally at his back.
All right. So you keep on going, audience and Fisher's light guiding the way. Anvara, are you in front of Fisher and the audience, or are you behind Fisher and audience?
Well, audience has the light, so I'll be behind.
Fisher
well, audience
also
and
has
Fisher have
light.
lights. Yeah, that's all right. I'll stay behind them. Probably safer.
Okay. So it takes a few minutes, and you eventually reach a point where, because of the light, you can see that maybe 20 feet in front of you there is a sharp drop. And it keeps going down. Just on the edge of that is where you notice the body. It looks like a humanoid, maybe size of human or a half elf, wearing robes. In that depth, unfortunately, you really can't notice if he has bright clothes or not. It just looks like he has either a green or blue cloak. So it's a bit hard to make out any more colors than this.
Amy is going to point at it, and he'll take his other hand and point at audience, and say, "All right, Raimi, where's the body?"
Okay. Audience will go over to the body and we'll search it to see if there's any, like, signias or anything that can help, pinpoint, like, who this might have been, or if he has anything that will identify him.
Okay, make an investigation roll.
Amy's doing his own investigation, but he wanted to make sure there was light.
That is, that is fair, and I assume you'll roll better than me because I get a -1 to investigation.
Then in that case, Remy, you can roll and you can roll.
I got 11.
Okay.
Wait, what's my investigation again? I think it's a 6. Yes, it's a 6. Yeah, so that'll be 21.
These intelligence rolls.
Thank goodness you have a Kenku. So you both start investigating this body and looking around. You do notice that he has a pouch. Well, several pouch, but one in particular has a lot of decomposing herbs. Just the moment that you open it, you do see a few herbs get out of it, and some of them break down. There's a bit of slime growing from within. You do find that he does have a dagger, curved dagger. Not far from where you are, you do see a long piece of wood all tangled up in kelps, which would have most likely have been a staff. And you do find what looks like mistletoe on the person.
That's what I was afraid of.
Does anything smartly match the description of the druid that we asked about from the village? Is there any, that said that they said came to check out the lake?
I'd say audience, because you are a religious person, you can make a religion roll.
Okay.
You're also the only character who would know this.
Am I? Was I the only person that talked to him?
You were the only one that went over and talked to him about this druid, so the rest of the party doesn't know.
Well. Good thing I'm making the roll then. Still -1. Okay. 15. It's very good for me with an intelligence roll.
I'd say you do know that mistletoe is a normal holy symbol for druids.
Okay. I'll say, I guess this was the druid that came to check out the lake.
Raimi cocks his head at you.
Ooh.
Also, I'll say, oh, I forgot to mention there was a druid that disappeared when he came to check out the lake.
All right.
Rainy just blinks, just like with a look of bewilderment.
Audience tries to remember other things that he might not have told them. Did I mention that there was a sorceress that came to check out the lake too? Did you guys get that part?
Shakes his head.
Excuse me.
Well, let's catch you guys up to speed real quick. Apparently, there was a sorceress in a purple robe that came to the village that went out to check on the lake, and she came back and said everything was fine. And then the normal druid who came and went to check the lake, and he never returned, and now we found his dead body.
How we know? All right.
Well, it matches the description I was given.
Rainy has a contemplative look on his face, or on his eyes. However that translates. And no shame, he does take the druid's curved dagger.
He wasn't using it.
With the investigation roll that you have, you also notice that there is a ring on one of the finger of the druid.
Oh God.
Also takes that.
Looting corpses at the bottom of the lake.
Other than
Actually,
that,
what is this ring made of?
it looks like a solid gold or gold-plated ring.
I will make note of that, and he'll put the dagger in the ring away, and then he will look toward again and communicate metal find, because he remembers that he told him that there was like some metallic structure found nearby.
A piece of metal which seemed to have been sheared off of something greater. The moment you say that, you do feel fear coming from your familiar. A brief moment of hesitation, but also well, you ask. So I will show you. And he slowly starts moving off, going deeper in. He just swims off the edge and starts going even deeper into the lake. Do you follow?
Rami will especially make sure to tug on audience before swimming after him. It's like, please, light of my life, be my guide.
Yeah, so
Figurative and literal.
Anvara, you have been silent ever since you have entered the lake. Now you see everyone just jumping even deeper in the lake.
You gaze upon the great Cthulhu. Roll a D100 plus 10 sanity. All right, I'll follow.
All right. Well, unsurprisingly, audience and Fisher just walks off the edge and starts slowly sinking, because even though you gave your pumpkin-size gold pouch to Remy, you still have all of your equipment and your armor in your backpack.
I don't have my armor. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I actually don't have a lot on me.
Well, where is your armor? Did you put it in
My
your
armor-
backpack?
My armor was left on the boat.
Meaning that when it exploded, it fell somewhere in the lake. Is that it?
No, my armor last time was in the cart.
Oh, okay.
I never re-equipped my armor
Okay.
after I got back.
So there is a large piece of armor on an abandoned cart at the edge of the lake. Got it.
Yes.
And I'm not wearing armor either, so that's fun. It's also on the boat.
I do have a shield though, which is helping weigh me down.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Amy has the partial assistance of a pumpkin-sized bag of gold.
So you start falling deeper and deeper again. And the first thing that you do realize when you jump in is that you don't see the bottom. So it is not just a few 10 or 20 feet drop. You start sinking even more, and it only takes maybe 10 feet more until you start losing almost all of the light. Everything around you is just blues and purple right now.
What color is the orb?
So you nervously
I've
reach.
never touched this orb ever in like the entire like campaign so far. I want to know what fucking color it is right now.
You reach down. You reach down in your backpack. You take out the orb and you look at it. The color is oscillating between yellow and green.
Okay, I can still. Okay. All right, I put it back.
And since she is behind everyone, no one caught her doing this. All right, you all keep on going down, and Anvara, Anvara, this might be actually what prompted this. Because of your passive perception and what you rolled, you are the second one in the group to feel that uneasy feeling grip inside of you. Something that feels unnatural, out of place, feels like you're stepping in it. And it's... Remy, you also feel that. It is radiating from deep within the darkness that you have just jumped in.
Good fucking lord. Okay, Anvara is tightly gripping her holy symbol and muttering prayers under her breath.
Audience
not
with his
wanna be
0
here.
perception is still completely oblivious and just wandering into the abyss.
Nice!
Not a care in the world.
We are drifting into relay. We're not even like doing anything about it.
And Remy, as I say, as you also feel it, it is radiating from somewhere deep within this darkness. Fortunately for you, you just have to look. You just have to look up, and you do see audience slowly sinking with lights, and also Fisher just beside him also has a light, but he's just looking at you with red eyes. Not sure if he's smiling or doing something creepy, but you know, it's Fisher. Just looking back down.
Yeah. Just keep this focused on audience, like.
Happy thoughts.
And Anvara just...
I mean, like in a certain sense, they both provide safety, just for different reasons.
And Anvara, just to make everything better, you do see Fisher eventually looking up at you with his red eyes, dimmer than usual, but still
Red eyes looking at me from like the dark
from the deep,
beneath.
and you do see him just gives you a thumbs up.
As his arm reaches up, I coil my legs up towards my chest to be further away from his arm.
Well, you are swimming down, so it would most likely be your head first.
Oh, that's right. I'm not just sinking here. Fuck, I'm not heavy enough. Should have kept the chainmail.
Yeah, especially if you have to fight now, you have a lesser armor. So, so you just keep on falling and falling, and you reach at least another good 25 feet of falling. There's almost no light except the light of audience and Fisher at this depth. Beyond the light that this light is creating, you see nothing. It is just darkness. From time to time, you do see a fish just swim inside the light and go away. But there is nothing else other than those two lights, the cold of the water, the silence, and this feeling that just grips you about that you're stepping into something unnatural. And actually, after another 30 feet of falling, so you're somewhere around 130, 140 feet down, audience, you also start feeling that uneasiness. There is something unnatural about this place. There is like stepping inside a place which should not be there.
I will say out loud into the darkness. For I am the light in the darkness, and even the darkest corners of this world will feel the dragon's roar. And then I will continue.
And so, Anvara and Remy, you both hear this prayer from audience. And he just keeps on falling deeper.
I'm still holding on my holy symbol and muttering prayers to Adarnazil because I will not count on the dragon to protect me.
Hopefully, it will comfort Raimi a little bit.
The audience, you hear in your head, in your own voice, actually, for the dragon.
Audience, not subtle at all, will shout out into the darkness, echoing Raimi, for the dragon, in a booming voice.
For the dragon! Alright, you keep on falling, and surprisingly enough, it just keeps on going and going and going. And you'd estimate that you've jumped maybe a good 50 feet from the ledge that you'd been on just before. And suddenly you hit not the bottom, but a ledge. And all of you just slowly drift down. Some of you have to swim. But you're there on this ledge, and you can't see anything beyond the light, with the exception of a small, faint purple glow. Maybe another 30 or 40 feet down.
Not sinister at all.
Remy, you get the feeling from Twinkling Bell that this is it. That purple light, this is where you asked him to go, but also where he really doesn't want to go. And because of how high you rolled on your perception roll, everything around in this place feels out of place. It feels like you are inches away from the breath of something that is breathing from the other side of the mirror.
Oh, fuck yeah, okay.
Audience is gonna cast Divine Sense.
Divine Sense.
Everything is red. The water is red. Everyone you see is red.
You can guess. I'm detecting good and evil within 60 feet now that you said we're 40 feet away from the purple glow.
Yeah. Doesn't it also allow you to see...
Anything affected by the halls burn the location of a celestial, fiend, undead within 60 feet. That's not behind.
Okay, Celestial, Fiend, and Undead.
I just sensed like 1,000 undead around me. I'm just like, oh shit.
I'd say the feeling that you get is slightly odd. It doesn't feel like it is coming from a person, but a place. And it does fit roughly where the purple glow is. But it's a mix of celestial and fiend at the same time.
Okay. Boys, we found a portal to the war between angels and demons. Let's go.
Where the fuck did you bring us, Raimi?
Hoping that maybe he can get, probably against his better judgment, but from all of audience's encouragement, he is going to share senses with, he's going to share senses with, and he's going to try to see if he can get a better look at what that purple glow actually is.
All right.
Like, basically just borrowing their dark vision for a hot second.
Yeah. All right. So you slip inside the eyes of Twinkling Bell and you go toward this odd thing. And the closer you get, the more you feel your skin crawl. There's something unnatural about this. And you also feel this sort of radiating waves of energy coming from there when you get maybe within 30 feet of it. There's something seeping out from where this purple glow is. And as you keep going further and further, suddenly you do find that you are, maybe it's the bottom of the lake, maybe not, but it does go for a little while as far as your perception can see. And you see two things. First of all, when Twinkling Bell reaches, I'd say make a perception roll.
Twinkling Bell just disappears. There's just nothing.
A bit of sand moves and he's gone.
I mean, still strong roll, 22.
Okay. So, as you reach this point, you notice two things, and with a roll like that, it's high enough. You notice this crack at the bottom of the lake. This is where the light is coming from, the purple glow of it. And there seems to be a ripple of energy coming from it. And the crack just goes on for maybe 10 or 20 feet on each direction, and it does reach a bit on each sides. But right on the edge of one, you see this large piece of metal. You really can't make out the runes on it, but there are runes engraved on this thing. It looks like a piece of metal, maybe the size of, if audience was wearing a breastplate, if the back had been sheared off and is stuck at the bottom, part of it inside the crack, part of it outside of it. You see the edges have been sheared and it is just there. And you feel the pulsating light from below, from the crack, and this piece of metal is there. And this is when you sort of realize the difference. The light isn't unsettling. It's the piece of metal that is unsettling. And the closer Twinkling Bell gets to it, the more this uneasy feeling is gripping it. And on the side, just at the side of your peripheral vision, you look and you see two bright lights, unmoving. But you see them blink once.
Of course they fucking like. What color is my spear?
still, still oscillating between yellow and green.
All right.
Okay.
The bright eyes that you can see are roughly the size of coconuts. Two of them right in front of you. Well, maybe 20 or 30 feet away from Twinkling Bell. They don't seem to be making any aggressive move, but then again, you're a swimming creature. So...
Oh, we're dead. We're just all dead. We're so dead. Okay.
Well, we usually have a break. I can take the break now and give you a moment to gather your thought and figure out what you do next. Or I can let you just figure out what you are going to do now and take the break as soon as you figure out what to do.
We should maybe take the break.
Yeah, it's like
Discuss this. Let's take the break.
All right. Then in that case, we will take the break right now. See you all back in 10 minutes, and hopefully no one will have died from anxiety by the time we come back. See you all in 10 minutes. Bye. Aha, welcome back everyone. All right. Well, as you can imagine, our party members have been hard at work trying to figure out what to do, and they, I believe, have a partial answer. So, all right, as you are all sitting 150 feet down at the bottom of a lake, and you believe you can see exactly where the problem is, but you still have a good 50 feet in front of you before you reach it. Anvara, audience, and Fisher, the only thing that helps you notice what is going on is that suddenly you see a little poop nugget coming from Remy just go as Remy, you are in the eyes of Twinkling Bell, looking at this metal, turning around and seeing two coconut-sized eyes watching you from the darkness, blinking. And this is where we come back. What do you do?
Remy's body noticeably tenses.
I'll turn to Remy, noticing the tension. I'll say, "Is everything all right?"
Unfortunately, as long as he is within the eyes of Twinkling Bell, he cannot hear you, I believe. But he can feel you.
I guess I'd lay a hand on his shoulder then.
He jumps. Well, not jumps, but you know what I mean. As he's like snaps back into reality. So
you see this reaction of
realizes it's you, calms down a little bit, but still a little shook up.
Alright. I'll turn to him. I'll be like, what did you see?
You know, it says he hasn't tried this underwater, so we'll see how this works out. He will first minor illusion what he like, like the crack with the metal to the best of his ability.
Okay. It's smaller than what you saw, but you can make
Yeah.
an accurate representation of it. You see this
Okay.
long crack with slight veins of energy coming from the side and this rippling energy coming from it. And you see this large piece of metal. Unfortunately, you have no reference to the actual size of it, but it does look like the piece of metal is stuck inside the crack.
I'll say so. It looks like the metal must be at least partially causing this. We should go remove it.
It's like Raimi's eyes open for a moment, and quickly that illusion dissipates, and and maybe it's not 100% clear because of minor illusions how it works, but tries to make the eyes question mark. Were
Well,
they a color of any sort?
it's
Or were
just
they more like ethereal?
no, it's just two bright eyes. A bit similar to when you look at cat's eyes in the middle of the night.
He tries his best to represent that, then takes the talons and just like points to his own eyes.
Because he's representing everything a bit smaller, it looks like two eyes, two bright circle the size of large gold pieces, maybe a medallion.
Okay. I'll roll. Let me think. 14. Yeah, I actually might understand that. Or at least somewhat get it. I'll ask about it. I'll say, are those eyes?
He nods.
I'll go, okay. So the thing might have a guardian. I will then turn to Terranad. And I will say, Terranad, you can speak in Primordial, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to see if you can talk to this creature about whatever? See if there's apparently some type of creature guarding this metal. You want to try talking Primordial, see if anything answers?
Can it hear me from here?
I mean, it's 40 feet. Sound travels well underwater, probably. If you shout.
Yeah, sure, because nothing bad ever happened from screaming at creatures. Uh, Heck, why not? I'm feeling brave today. Like one of the gnomes who made me said, do something brave today, then run like hell. Alright. Is there something you want me to say exactly?
Just, see if it will, first see if it will even communicate. Just, like, try and talk in Primordial, say, like, I don't know, become in peace or something.
Yeah. Okay. Oh. Right. How do I not make ourselves sound like kibbles? Oh, I got it. Turns around and start emitting a sound, which on the water feels, a bit better than what you were hearing from the water elementals. You heard them from the outside, now you're hearing the same thing from underwater. It does feel a bit more harmonious. Unfortunately, you've never heard whale songs before. Fisher has, but unfortunately he is AFK right now. So, So you do hear these long, drawn out harmonics, and then you see him wait for a moment.
Okay.
And then you hear an echo coming from somewhere. An answer, maybe? You see Terranad. Okay. It's asking if we brought food.
I have rations. We'll
I
say.
have nasty ass oatmeal in my backpack.
I think. Ask it if we give it food, if it will let us take the metal.
Fair trade.
Okay. Takes a moment and. Alright. He starts talking again in Primordial. Takes a moment, then you hear an echo back. No.
It will not let us take the.
Actually, it wasn't clear. It just said, I'm hungry. What metal?
Ask it about the metal at the bottom of the lake. Ask it.
Okay.
Ask about Ask about the light and the metal.
Okay.
Say if it answers, we'll give it some food now.
Okay. Takes a moment. Start talking in Primordial Aquan. Or something close to it.
Trading aquatic life.
Okay. You hear an echo. Comes back and. Right. It wants to know what kind of food first.
Okay. I'll pull out my rations. It's probably a lot of dried meat. Some other dried, probably like grains. Stuff
Hardtack.
that keeps hardtack. So it's probably a mix of like hardtack and dried meat.
Okay. Oh wow, how do I explain what hardtack is?
Start with the dried. Ask if it's. Start with the dried meat. I feel like I doubt that it's vegetarian, but we'll see if it would want dried meat, and then
Okay.
we'll move on and try and explain hardtack.
Okay. Talks a bit, hear an answer, and hear an answer. Right. It says it prefers fish.
Oh, we have spears.
I-
We can go
I
spear
mean,
fishing.
there'd probably be a little bit of dried fish in there. Like, not a ton, probably. But I did buy a ton of rations, and there was some fish. The ton.
Right. Alright.
Say there's not a lot, but we do have some.
Okay. Talks, you hear an answer back, and. It's asking if the creature in front of it is edible.
Tell it that that creature is our friend and to please not eat it.
Says something, you hear an answer. But it looks squishy.
Say that it very well might be, but that doesn't change the fact that it's our friend.
Okay. Says something.
During this conversation, it poops. like, there's a clicking sound from Raimi as the octopus just poops from existence.
All right. Well, the creature says, "Never mind. It disappeared."
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not very filling.
Tell the creature that we'll give it the fish we have now if it will answer our questions.
Okay. What's the question? It says.
The question is still about the light and the metal.
Oh, the light and
Like,
metal.
this is the weirdest diplomacy I've ever done.
Okay. It said. Oh, how does it translate? The metal was left behind and you keep hearing echoes from coming and going, and it couldn't fit, but the creature forced its way, shearing off. No, that's not the right word. Tearing off a way toward another realm. But in doing so, a piece of metal it was wearing got sheared off.
Okay. So ask if the creature is from this realm or the other realm.
Well, the creature came and went back to the other realm.
Oh.
Which creature
we
are
not?
you? Which creature are you referring to?
Oh, the creature. Okay, this isn't. It wasn't the creature who. I see. Okay, so it's a. No, I understand now. Okay, so it was a. Okay, so a creature was here, went back to another realm, but some metal that it was wearing got sheared off. Okay. Tell the creature thank you, and I'll pull out all the fish rations for my. Okay, how many rations is that? How many of the rations were fish?
Well, since it's mixed dried stuff, it's probably just bits and pieces. If you take the ration out and you just break it apart, and you do notice that some bits looks like, oh, well, it doesn't look like jerky bits. That
I'll remove 10 rations. I think that would probably. Yeah, remove 10.
How many were you lugging around?
I was lugging around almost. Well, I was lugging around like 30 something, and now I had 20.
You know, there's
And
a
now I
reason
just
why
remove 10.
you're all very easy to track. You smell like food.
All right, I'll pull out all the rations and I'll say, here, tell it that I am breaking up the rations into the, or say that I have the rations here. How does it want me to give it to them? To it.
It says come down.
Tell it I won't do that. But I will. I will break it over the ledge that it can come eat it like fish foods. Oh no! Actually, you know what? No, audience is an account. Ask it. Tell it if I come down, will it try and eat me? Because I want to go down anyway and try and get the medal. It doesn't seem.
It's saying it doesn't know. It's never met you, so it doesn't know if you look appetizing or not.
You
Tell it
probably-
I will agree to come down if it doesn't. It has to agree to not try and eat me. I look like a copperish dragon, like humanoid. I look like a humanoid dragonish figure. If it sees something, ask before it tries to eat anything.
Okay. You hear Terranad go into Primordial. You hear a voice coming back.
Tell it I'm not a fish.
It said, and I'm doing my best to quote, "That's not a good description. But if I recognize this, I won't eat it."
Okay, again, tell it just before it eats anything to ask you if it's trying to eat me. And then I will go down if it agrees to that, to ask before it tries to eat anything.
Alright, and how will I know if you are what the creature is looking at?
You know what? I hate that I'm saying this, but I'm gonna trust you on that one. It seems like you're a pretty intelligent guy.
Oh, you hate admitting that I'm intelligent. Oh, that's flattering. Okay. Well, you have a light, so I'll be able to see that. Alright. Hold on. Speaks in Primordial. You hear an echo back. And Tyranid looks at you. Well, Fisher looks at you and... Well, I just asked it to not eat bright lights.
Okay, you know what? That's good enough for me. We'll turn to the others. See you on the other side, guys. Jump off the ledge with the food.
You just Anvara, Remy, you just see audience saluting you and jumping off into the depths.
Amy, eyes wide, runs to the ledge and kind of like looks down.
Wow, he's brave. Or dumb, either way. So, audience, you slowly fall to the bottom of this place and you eventually reach the bottom and you look around for a moment. You're slightly closer to the purple light that you see. And from this distance, you do feel the ripples of energy coming out of this. You don't know what realm this connects to, but it's definitely very alien compared to yours, or at least from your perspective. You slowly start to move toward this, and for a moment, all you have is your own light around you, and then suddenly you make a perception roll.
Oh my god, I rolled a 17. That's the best
Wow.
perception you will ever see from audience.
I think audience is slightly stressed, so his perception is.
Audience is just like straining into the darkness, just like, where?
So there is a bit of this new environment feeling that's helping him with the adrenaline surge, and oh yeah, really the light inside the darkness. And then suddenly you look beside you and you see those two coconut-sized eyes just beyond the reach of your light.
Okay.
You know,
I will give-
you actually, what you saw from Remy, that's a bit bigger.
Okay. Can I see like a form besides? Because can I see like any besides the eyes, or can I even see like a slight like shadow or anything that would give me an idea of this thing's size?
Well, you have a feeling that it is right beyond the light for a reason, because it's also not sure of you. So you see these eyes from the size of it and the distance between them. You do get the feeling that, well, actually, I'd say you are fairly confident that whatever creature is looking at you is maybe half the size of your god. The last time you saw it.
Yep, guys. Not combat was the correct call. Good job.
We chose the non-suicidal route.
All right, I will take the food, and I will kind of give it a nod. I will show the food, and then I will toss the food out beyond the light and kind of back up so it doesn't have to come into the light to try and get the food.
So you throw the food and it just goes out in the water, slowly starts to deposit itself. You back away 10 feet, and just before it reaches 20 feet, you see this huge paw-like shape that just comes from above, and right where it was, it is roughly twice as large as you and maybe about as tall as you. You do notice that it has 5 claws and it is raking the bottom of this lake toward himself with hopefully everything that it catched. You see the 2 eyes going up. You see a light coming from under the eyes, and the light allows you to see the inside of a large mouth. It is roughly similar to looking right at the mouth of a whale shark. It is large enough to engulf you effortlessly.
Okay.
You see the paw sliding toward the mouth and then shoving everything in, and then you see it goes back completely shut. For a moment, it does feel like there is something slightly familiar to this light, as if you have watched yourself just before throwing your lightning in the mirror at least once. You wanted to see what that looks like. The bottom of this mouth feels like right before the lightning came out.
Okay.
But it closes its mouth, and you see the eyes just go up and down. Feels like it's chewing.
Okay, at this point, I am deciding that watching the creature for longer isn't going to help me, as that was all the food I had, and basically our entire diplomacy power. So I think it's probably best at this point to try and get the medal and leave before it becomes hungry again. Because while it doesn't seem hostile, I don't want to overstay my welcome. So I'm going to try and remove the medal.
By the
Well,
way,
it's still
like
eating.
Grammy was looking down from the ledge, and audience did bring a light. How much of that did Raimi see?
Very little. I'd say, make a perception roll.
Like I only ask because like they brought the light down there. The Nope, that's gonna be a 10.
Well, because of your angle, you didn't see a lot of it, but because of the light, the only thing you saw was the huge claw coming inside the light, slamming the ground, and then slowly dragging whatever was under it beyond the light.
Not terrified at all.
Well, hope that wasn't the fucking paladin.
For a moment, you do feel like that's probably how a spider feels like when a cat tries to crush it with its paw. That's probably it.
And he just like as that happens, he just like shuts his eyes, like nope. Opens up one eye, like it's like oh thank God, audience is still there.
Well, you're not sure about audience, but you do see the light. It's still moving.
Well,
Whether it's
I
audience,
think he's
episode,
intelligent to know that it might be audience because that's the only other light besides the
Yeah.
the purple shit.
Anvara, what are you doing while all of this is going on? Anvara has been very silent.
Yeah, and Vara's just looking down to this hole. She has dark vision to 60 feet, so I assume she can see, like, all right within shades of gray, right?
Oh goodness, yes. Um yeah, because of your 60 feet dark vision and how close Audion was, you actually do get a better idea of the massive size of this creature because you don't need the light to see the paw, to see what it was connected to, and the face also that is with it. Um, you've never seen a dragon before, but if you had to judge, oh, it's probably not the biggest dragon you could imagine, but it's at least 100 feet long.
Well, I'm glad I'm not in the fucking death pit. I'll just, like, I guess I saw Raimi just cower a bit after seeing that.
The general shape of
Good,
it,
I don't know it's a dragon. I'd probably start trying to worship it.
the general shape of it does feel like a salamander form.
All right. I'll just like nudge Raimi. Just say, he's fine. He's okay. It's just he's just down there alone with a really, really big creature. He's fine though.
Me and dragons are friends. For the dragon. I said the dragon's watches over even at the bottom of lakes. Was I wrong? No. Another point to my religion.
I want a persuasion roll from Anvara.
Anvara, roll a
Sure.
persuasion roll.
I need to know how comforting these words are.
How comforting do you find a 12?
You know,
It's honest, but it's not comforting.
you feel that there is a slight lack of warmth to what she said, but it does feel like, alright, she's trying to be truthful and reassuring. She just failed on one of the two.
Negative charisma, baby.
He's just gonna. He will kind of nod, but then just quickly turn his head back to the light of audience and just like watching it intensely. Or, excuse me, intensely.
Anva, make a perception roll.
All right. That is a 25.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, after saying this to Remy, You see audience slowly going for the piece of metal, but what you see is not exactly reassuring because you notice that
Oh.
the creature is following audience.
Don't worry about me. We had a deal.
All right.
It's
I'm
just
readying.
interested.
All right. I'm just gonna cast Guiding Bolt level 2. No.
What are you doing? Do you want to die?
I'm joking with you.
We don't win a fight here.
I'm messing with you. I don't see how yelling at audience to like warn him would really benefit anything, since the creature would just be like, "Well, she yelled, might as well." So I don't know. It's like, do I have a way to? I guess I can't make like light flicker, my light spell flicker. Well, yeah, I could. I could just like turn it on and off a couple times.
Well, actually, you have to recast it, and since you're
I haven't
not
touched
in
it.
range, the light would go out.
True. All right. I'll just try to wave, like in case he looks up for a second. Like, hey,
I don't have dark vision, but I'm not.
Well,
Oh.
roll just in case you get an actual 20, you know.
Why I could
Hey,
suddenly
if you
see
want
in the
to-
dark for a brief second. I gave my god grants me the ability of dark vision for a split second. You know, it's pretty damn close. I got a 19.
19.
But it wasn't quite a nat 20.
Well, with a 19, you do not notice that Anvara is waving, even though she is in the light that Fisher is emanating. But for some reason, you just look behind you as you're walking.
I
And
still see the eyes.
well, yeah, you do see the eyes don't seem to be growing smaller.
Okay.
And as a
following
matter
me.
of fact, every time you take a step forward, well, actually 5 or 6 step forward, you do notice that there is a cloud of dust coming from the ground.
You know what? I've been around large creatures before. I was around my master. I could stay calm. It's just interested. Doesn't see a lot of creatures like me. We're fine. We're chill. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna roll an intelligence roll real quick because I saw the lightning mouth, and audience might try something. Not that he actually thinks it's a dragon, but he might try something if I roll well on this, which I did. I actually rolled a 17, so I'm rolling really well right now, surprisingly, which is not normal for me. I actually got one good night.
It's the adrenaline.
It's the adrenaline. All right, I am going to try talking in Draconic and seeing if it responds to it. If it knows Draconic, I am gonna say, so have you ever seen any creature like me before in Draconic? Seems to be following me. Why not have a conversation?
All right, well, this is something that I've asked you before. Blue or black?
I hate this. You know what? We're underwater, but the color is black. But I would rather be in the blue water, so I'm going to think blue is good, black is bad. We're going to go with blue.
So you wait for a moment after saying this, and you hear a growling. And then you hear. It's a bit hard to make out. It's very muffled and feels like a version of Draconic you've never heard before, so there are words you're not sure of. But you do hear. Oh, this is an old language.
Huh.
Interesting. All right, I'm gonna keep walking and like kind of working, but I'm gonna continue to talk to it while I try and. So if there's anything going on with the runes of the blade, I'm letting you know I'm trying to take the blade out while I talk to it.
Okay.
So if there's anything going on with that, like I'm gonna get like cursed suddenly or dragged to another realm, let me know.
All right. Well, the closer you get to this crack between the realm, you do feel like something is pulsing outward. So when you reach maybe 15 feet before reaching it, you do feel some sort of resistance. It pushes away.
Can I try and fight through the resistance?
Yeah, make an athletic roll.
I'm good at that. This is when I roll my bad roll though, since I've rolled a bunch of good ones.
Natural one.
Nope. It's I get +6 on that, so that's actually an unnatural 20.
Oh wow.
So I'm still pushing ahead.
So fairly easily, you manage to push ahead. You don't push ahead as fast as you would, but you know it's strong. But it's oh boy. All right, you manage to go toward it. You do.
Okay, I will continue to talk. Oh, okay.
Yeah?
Sorry, I interrupted.
Oh no, that's all right. I was gonna say something
No,
about the dragon, but if you have something about the creature, but if you have something to say, go ahead.
I'll say I'll be gonna tell, but I'm like, yes, it is. We are in the common tongue. We are known as Dragonborn. We are the lesser forms of dragons, which is why I know this language, which you call an old language.
Are you similar to silver or blue dragons?
I would be the most similar to a. It's not bronze. It's copper. Right? No, it was bronze. No, it was bronze. Yeah, I would be the most similar to a bronze dragon, but I would say I am probably closer to silver than blue.
Okay. I haven't spoken this language in. Well, since she visited. She was young. She was a silver dragon. She said she was considering making her home nearby, on top of a tall mountain. It must have been at least 1,000 years ago.
That is quite a long time for one of my kind. We live only 100 or so years if we are lucky.
Well, you look different. I never ate one of you before.
We don't taste good.
And you have tasted your own before?
No, but I have bit my tongue, and so technically I have tasted myself, and we don't taste good.
Oh. Well, maybe it's just your tongue that doesn't taste good.
No, I once fell and my arm, and like I hit my teeth and I tasted some. You know, it's just the blood. Our blood doesn't taste great. It's too, too
Ooh.
coppery.
Yes. So, are you going to take the metal out of my lake?
would that be all right with you? It seems to be disturbing it.
Well, it's making the fish scared. I don't care much for it either. But the woman with silver hair said that the world would reject the metal on its own.
However, how long did she give you a time frame for how long that would take?
No.
Then I know of a place where I believe the metal would be safe and removed from this world if you want it, if you wish for it to be removed from the lake now.
Well, it's been very lonely since it's been here. I'd say maybe 2 weeks ago. Yeah. It's scaring the fishes, making it a lot harder to eat.
Well, then, someone of your size, I'm sure, must need a lot of food, so I will try and remove it for you so you can go back to your better fishing ways.
All right. I'm gonna let you try.
Thank you. All right, I will continue to attempt to remove the metal.
Anvara, from your perspective and with your dark vision, you do realize that the creature is maybe 10 feet away from audience. But you did notice that he faced the creature. And he didn't get eaten.
Well, I would trust audience at this point to like make a good judgment call whether or not a full frontal assault at this point would be a good idea. So I'm just gonna assume he talked it down or that he is convincing it not to be hostile. So I'm not gonna intervene. I'm just gonna look down cautiously at this mass of thing following audience around.
Remy, because it's closer to audience and it has slightly touched the rim of light, you do slightly see a bit of the shape of the head. It has similarities to that of a salamander. But, you know, from the depth where you are, you only see black and blue, you know, so. But it's large. Really large.
I'm gonna take a gamble here. Is there any possible way that he could have ever read about something like this? Or similar to this?
Oh, that's an interesting one.
It's a very, very fat siren.
Well, you do have proficiency in history. I will allow you to make a roll.
Gonna kinda like, come on, please don't fail me now. All right, that is a soft 20.
Soft 20. All right. Well, not that creature specifically, but you've heard about creatures. You've heard about large creatures living in lakes, but their shape and appearance usually varies a lot because while some are normal creature, and usually those aren't that smart. So because there was a dialogue earlier on, it's probably not just a plain old creature. You have heard stories about very old landmark becoming sentient in a way. Sort of like when a dryad is born. A lot of people believe that this is actually the soul of a very old oak. You've heard that such process can sometime occur with very old landmarks. That the landmark itself gains a soul and it actually manifests itself physically.
Ooh.
This could be that. It also means that this particular shape does speak about the temper of the beast also. The temper of this soul.
Rami is simultaneously fascinated and still frightened.
Alright, so audience, it is rather hard getting to this piece of metal. The closer you get, the stronger the pulsing energy is. But with your roll, you do manage to reach the piece of metal. And as you draw closer to it and you just slowly try and touch it, you do feel like there's energy coming out of it. And not the nice kind of energy. You'd say from everything you've felt and received, there is something akin to psychic, maybe necrotic energy sipping from that piece of metal.
Nice.
Okay. I have a question. Can I infuse my hands and like lay on hands, but not actually keep it there and then try and remove it using that? Like just so it's like my hands are kind of infused with divine light. It would use some points of my lay on hands, but I wouldn't actually be trying to heal anything. I would just be using it as like a safeguard.
What can lay on hands counter?
It's so if I use 5 points here, let me. If I use actions, lay on hands. You have a pool of healing power that can twice 20 as an action. You can touch a creature strain number. 5 HP to either cure a disease or neutralize a poison affecting the creature. So it can neutralize disease or poison. But I was more thinking of it as just a...
Yeah.
Or I could also, yeah. It was just like a more of a power to just kind of help negate. I don't think it would fully negate, but help negate some of the energy while I tried to remove it or held on to it.
Kind of like having a med team on standby before you start juggling chainsaws.
Something similar to that. I'd say... well, I've never read anything about what happens if you ready a lay on hand. Nowhere says that if you ready that, the energy is lost. So I'd say you could probably try to prepare the equivalent of a lay on hand and make it act if there is need to act.
Okay. I will do that. And then I will also get a bag ready. In fact, I will actually... Okay, the easiest way to do this would be... I will get a bag ready to try and put it in so it's not in my hands as quickly as possible.
Okay. So you grab the object and you try and pull?
Yeah.
Okay. First, I'm going to have you make a. Okay, a wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom. Got it. My wisdom saving throws are okay.
Yeah, as a paladin, you have proficiency with wisdom saving throw.
All right, that is an 11.
Okay. Then I'm going to have you make a athletic strength roll.
Okay. That is a 25.
25. All right. So, you touch this metal, and instantaneously, you feel so much energy coursing through your body. The lay on hand that you used on this seems to negate the necrotic energy which was seeping from it and tries to grip you, but it fails and it burns your 5 hit point worth of lay on hand.
Okay.
You grab it with all of your strength and you pull, but at the same time, you feel this wave of energy slam into you. And for a moment, you completely lose sight of everything that is around you. You do take
I assumed this was gonna hurt.
11 points of psychic damage.
Okay.
Psychic. Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of energy. It makes sense.
You take 11 points of psychic damage, and your mind gets flooded with images. Unfortunately, they're really hard to understand. For one moment, you feel panic, fear, rage. You feel as if your life was sucked out. You look up in this storm of pain and you hear your mind screaming. But as you look up, you see this huge darkness in front of you and you can't understand what it is. One thing you can understand is that even when one day you said something that your master didn't like and it felt like he was angry, the fear you feel right now pales in comparison to what you felt at that moment. You are looking at a creature hidden behind this darkness that is so immense and pulse such an incredible power that you feel your soul is screaming right now.
Okay.
Christ, what did you awaken, dude?
I don't think I awakened anything. I think it's the remainder of it, which is the scary thing. I think it's a small remnant of its power.
Jesus.
With the roll that you managed to do, you feel like you managed to dislodge the piece of metal. You can feel it in your hands, but it's still not completely out. Anvara, Raimi, and Fisher also, from your point of view, you see this flash of energy coming from this. When the light that audience was emanating touches this thing, you see the crack below this burst out and reach further than before. It extends in both directions, and there's these little tendrils that just keeps appearing from where the crack is.
What am I doing?
You brought into this realm the fucking great old one. What the fuck do you think you just did?
audience, you don't see anything of this crack becoming worse. However, you do feel like the piece of metal has been partially dislodged. One more good pull, and you're confident you can take it out.
My mind is pretty much at this point. I have one goal and one goal only. In the sphere, audience would root back to his most basic, like, basically forms of like non-comprehending, which would basically be complete the task. So he would continue to. He would basically, it would be like complete the task, get this metal into the bag and out of your hands as quickly as possible. Because at this point he almost wouldn't even think to let go. He would more just think to like actually just try and like, because his mind would have been thinking about the task at hand when it started, would basically be like infused on that, because that's how his personality works.
Okay.
Since he was being overwhelmed, so he would continue to try and basically pull it out and put it into the bag as quickly as possible before the energy overwhelmed him.
Okay, then make another wisdom saving throw and another athletics roll.
Okay, I'll start with the wisdom. The wisdom this time was an unnatural 20.
Oh.
So pretty good on the wisdom. And then the athletics is going to be a 17.
Okay. So, you gather all of the strength that you have left, and even though this fear is overwhelming, you grab the piece as strong as you can and you pull, and you do feel it come out. Your mind manages to stay focused. You do take 4 hit points of psychic damage. And for a brief moment, everything within you feels sick, because for one brief moment you feel the blackness that is in front of you form a word inside your head, and that word is the end. But you feel the piece come out, and you feel like you're floating right now. You did manage to dislodge it. Feels like there was a burst of power, and you went up a little bit. So you are free to bag it.
All right, I do that quickly. Or then I kind of stop for a second, and I'm just kind of gasping. Because if I felt more fear, and the power I felt from that was basically greater than when my master was angry, then the only way audience could comprehend that was that it was basically something as powerful as a god that was alien and not from our realm. But he would assume it was basically some dark god from some other realm that he had just made like a brief contact with. And that's kind of a little traumatizing to him.
Well, because you're...
I would shake the audience a little bit.
Because you're paladin, I'd say make a religion roll for me, please.
Okay. God, I'm rolling well tonight. That's an 18.
18. You do know that a lot of gods that reach out to people are very often considered lesser god, because they don't venture to the deepest reach of all that is, of the abstract nature of the universe. They deal in more physical form of it. So most god which answers prayer, usually the entire pantheon, with the exception of maybe the bases of god, and where in your world there's only 4 basic gods. So you'd say most of the other gods are usually considered lesser god. So based on that comparison, you'd be forced to judge that, okay, your god, even though he presents himself as a greater god, might actually be a lesser god. And what you felt, that might actually be what a greater god is.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, it shakes me up pretty hard. I, I'm like, I'm audience is shaken.
So you bag this thing and you close it up, and this is when you look around and you realize that the crack in the ground is much bigger than it was before. It expanded in every direction, and it even cracked on the sides, creating new small cracks everywhere. When you look around, you don't see the creature that you were talking to. And Anvara, the moment that audience managed to pull the metal out, you saw the creature bolt. It went away at such speed, you didn't even imagine speed like that could be real. It's like watching a torpedo go away.
Okay. I'm
So we're
gonna yell
leaving.
down.
We're
Yeah, I'm gonna
leaving.
yell down the whole audience. Get your scaly ass back up here right now.
So, audience he'll start to swim, but as he swims, even though he's shaken, he's still a man of duty, and he's very shaken. He wants to get out of there. Everything in him is telling him to get out of there. I am going to pull out my orb, and I'm going to briefly turn it to image mode, and I'm going to take an image of the crack and send it to the garden and as I swim, I'm basically going to try and give a brief explanation of what I just saw and what happened and make them aware of it, since I know they're from other realms.
Okay.
I'm not going to try and talk to anybody. I'm just going to basically talk. I'm going to turn the orb to an image mode. I'm going to basically try and take an image of it and then talk into the orb and then try and get out of there as fast as possible.
All right. Well, as usual, Syrah is the one that answers your call, and when she does notice that there is a fair amount of nervousness in your voice, something she is not accustomed to. So, audience, one word at a time. What happened?
Right. I will basically tell her, I will show her the crack, and I will say, I believe I just saw into another world. I just removed a piece of metal, and I believe I saw a greater dark god from another realm. This crack. And I'll basically try and explain, as I swim away, briefly what I saw, the dark creature, the word that was infused into my mind, the end. And I'll say, I have the piece of metal with me. We're getting out of here as quick as possible. I'll talk to you once we're back at the surface.
Where can we send someone? Where we have one sentinel who can go into your world. It is the one that gave you the coin. Where can we send it? Where are you going to be?
I will tell them exactly where we are. We were at the bottom of, what's the name of the lake? At the center of I know I've been told.
It's the northern half of the Twin Lake.
Okay, I will say northern half of Twin Lakes. We were at the bottom of it. This is where the fissure is. I believe I may have just made it worse. This is where we are.
All right. We will send it. Are we going to send it in the middle of the lake, or are you going to reach to it on the edge on one of the shores?
So what did they say? They're sending like one of their warriors.
One of the wardens.
One of the wardens.
It's a type of warden.
I will say we are at the center. We will not be able to reach the shore for a few more hours. I don't know if anything bad is going to happen, but I just wanted to make you guys aware, as you have far more experience than me with other worlds, and you may even have heard or know something about this, God I mentioned. I want you to make aware of it, because now this is a place of perhaps great peril, basically.
All right. Don't worry.
I'll give you more details later.
Very well. Don't worry. We'll send one of the sentinels toward the shore near the village around the lake. Is that good?
Yes. Thank you.
Real.
And then I'm gonna put the orb away, and basically I'll shout to the others in common. We need to leave. We need to not be here. Let's try and get to the surface. I don't know if there's any immediate danger, but this is not a place we should be anymore.
This is the first time, Anvara, Remy, and Terranad, you hear nervousness in audience's voice.
No, you hear terror.
Terror.
There's a difference. You've heard nervousness before. You've never heard terror.
Something happened down there.
Yeah, Anvara is not reassured at the fact that the stoic, iron-hearted fucking paladin is basically shitting himself at what he saw down there. So I'm just gonna swim as fast as I can to keep up with him as we're raising up and make sure that the other two are following appropriately.
Remy?
Yeah, he's taking those words at very face value and probably trying to swim faster than Anvara.
I'm gonna reach the top before you.
I don't need to outrun it. I just need to outrun you. Okay.
Don't worry, we swim faster than Terranad.
Yeah, and when you all start swimming up, you just look at Terranad and say, well, yeah, maybe it's gonna be faster if I walk the shore.
Probably.
Up to you. I'll just shout you tail. Up to you.
Just make sure you walk up to the right shore.
All right. See you there. I hope you tell us what we missed.
All right. Thanks for initiating the end game.
Are you kidding?
Bro, that wasn't even the end game. There was I think if we were level 20, we were doing nothing against that thing. I think that was basically if we just leave and hope it doesn't come through.
Well, I'm going to say one thing because this is something you would never know. You are going to reach the milestone for this chapter slightly faster because you have discovered a sliver of the world history.
Good for me, guys. I calculated.
So you all do your best to swim back up, and yeah, because basically, well, Fisher does have proficiency in athletic. Yeah, well, Fisher would try and swim up, but he's gonna take much longer than all of you, so it really depends on if you want to wait for him to reach the boat or not.
Do I see him? I would look back. I would see which one he decided, or which one Terran had decided. Do I see him trying to follow us, swim up after us?
Well, yeah, he does try, but he's going much slower than all of you. He is the heaviest, and basically every few moments I'm just using a passive athletics check because normally every single round he'd need to make an athletics roll. But you took maybe a good 45 minutes, an hour to just sink down to this place slowly and gradually. So that's a lot of roll. So I'm just going with the passive athletic. And it's going to take him a while because the DC for him is just 1 point below his passive athletic. So it's not a fast ascension for him.
Okay. Like, how much longer do you think it would take minutes-wise for him to reach the surface after us?
Well, you'd get back. It's a bit faster to go back up, especially since Remy, all he has to do is give back the pumpkin-sized bag of gold to audience, and he's just gonna go. And because of water breathing, there's no problem with decompression. So for all of you, it would maybe be half an hour to swim back up from your 150 feet down, trying to reorient yourself, make sure that you actually end up somewhere near the boat. For Remy, it would maybe be 20 minutes because, his bones are hollow.
Are we including the, like, 10 to 20-minute breaks we have to take so our blood doesn't do the bubbly thing? Whatever you catch
The underwater breathing spell covers that.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
It covers the compression decompression situation.
All right. That's good.
You don't want your blood to do the bubbling thing.
It's like is it called the bends? Maybe it's called the bends.
It is.
that's it.
I mean, that is the colloquial term for it.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. The bends diving, yeah, I'm correct. Yeah, where if you change depths too fast, basically
The
get-
bubbling thing.
If I remember correctly, what actually happens is the goodness, I don't know what it is in English. Lazat.
It forms gas bubbles. Yeah, it forms gas bubbles.
Yeah,
in
because they
circulation.
expand because because of the pressure they keep a certain size, but if you go up too fast, they expand, and this is what makes the bubble in your. I know which gas does that. I just don't know how it's called in English. So
Yep, it can lead to heart attacks, strokes, ruptured blood vessels in the lungs, and joint pain.
yeah,
So not
Oh, no,
good
not
stuff.
joint
So
pain.
I'm glad the breathing devices cover that.
yeah.
God spare us from joint pain.
Slowly the breathing apparatus reduce the quantity of this specific gas in what you're breathing. So when you get up, there's less of it in your blood, so you're all right. So for all of you, like I said, it takes maybe half an hour to get up. For Remy, slightly less, but for Fisher, maybe 45 minutes, 50 minutes, because it's so much slower. So yeah, you find yourself most likely reaching dinner time, somewhere like 5 o'clock. You're back out of the lake, and for the first time in a few hours, you see the light of day. You feel the fresh air, not filtered by this spell.
Audience isn't wasting time. Audience is grabbing the oars and getting the fuck to shore.
All right. So, do you wait for Fisher to get in the boat?
I did see him trying to follow us, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then I will wait. I'm not going to leave him behind.
So it takes for him a good 20 more minutes to reach the boat.
So Raimi is going to do his best to comfort his hero
How does Remy
as they're
does
waiting
that?
for Fisher. It's like probably what usually makes him feel good, just like hugging audience the whole time. maybe occasional like rubbing of the back.
You know what? Audience is shaken up. He's probably going to let it happen right now. He's just kind of like...
And in fact, like I don't know, this might be a little weird, but like you might hear like him repeating the humming of like a nursery rhyme
It's fine.
that
Audience
he
is just...
remembers hearing.
audience is a lot to go because not only he would also it's like not only was he just seriously like psychically fucked up and also saw like basically encountered like a great dark god, but like also his faith was thrown a little bit into question, so he's just kind of processing a lot.
Just trying to give you, just trying to give physical
So
comfort
I'm
and
just
also
kind of trying
auditory
to.
comfort.
I'm sitting there kind of quietly, just.
Oh, oh, this is interesting. Your faith has been put back into question. Could you make an intelligence roll for me with advantage because of what you just said?
Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be a 5 on the first roll, so we'll see if I can get a little better. And that's gonna be a 17.
All
So
right.
yeah.
Yeah, it's enough. Just enough. Well, you have Remy there trying to comfort you, and Anvara looking at you puzzled because she's never seen you actually scared like that.
I thought he only had one setting, and that was bravado. I didn't think there was anything else.
And there is one thing that pops into your mind. The dream you had, where you were looking at what you believe to be the son of your god, but it turned out that you were looking at something which gave out little more light than a moon, and behind it, an actual sun, blinding in its power but also welcoming.
Okay. Wait, I'm a little confused, but so
You,
can you explain that one more time?
While you are
So-
stuck in this and thinking about this thing you have just witnessed below the waves,
Okay.
you have the old dream that you have that pops back into your mind. The one when you were in the garden and that you were surrounded in darkness and suddenly you saw a ball of light coming up and there was your village and the mountains that you had just came out of, where you made a prayer to the fossilized dragon remains. But as the globe of light kept on going up in the sky and you sort of felt like this was the light of your god, you saw a light coming from behind it and becoming more and more powerful, and suddenly they separated. The light that you thought was the light of your god going above your village, and this blinding, impossible to watch light going above the mountain where you had given your prayer. It was completely blinding you, but you also felt a welcoming warmth to it.
Mm-hmm.
In your dream, you said that you made him one step toward this bright light. So as you're thinking about this new position that your god has just taken in comparison to what you felt, you can't help but for a moment to have that dream come into your mind. Well, where you actually saw that the light of your god could be outshone by something else, something else welcoming, maybe even more powerful than what your god was.
Okay.
This is a juicy art.
It comes back, this dream comes back into your mind just as the doubt creeps up in your mind about your own god and everything relating to it.
Okay. I'm processing. I will be processing for probably a little bit until we probably get back to shore.
Just keeps hugging you, rubbing your back.
It was a lot.
Humming.
I mean, remember, I just took what, like a like I just took what, like 15 points of psychic damage, like actual psychic damage. So I'm
Yeah.
a little like, you know, mind has actually been fucked up, literally as well as you know. So yeah,
All right.
but so obviously I'll wait till Fisher gets back, and then I'll probably silently grab the oars and just start kind of rowing back to shore while processing.
All right. Well,
Could Raby roll an insight
yes, of
as
course.
far as like, just like basically like how much of this is from what they witnessed and like possibly something else.
I should have listened to the silver hair woman.
Well, she did seem to know what she was talking about. So, yes, of course, you can roll an insight.
Well, wish it was a little higher, but 15.
15. Well, it's a bit hard to determine what exactly caused this. You know that nothing you have seen so far while you were near audience has shaken him up. Finding yourself in a seemingly almost impossible fight with a group of direwolf facing down a Umber Hulk didn't even faze him. He faced greater numbers of kobolds and goblins and basically laughed at them. But he came back from that looking like a kid who has never seen a monster before tear apart his best friend. You're probably sure that it's not just from the crack becoming bigger. Something happened. From what? No. But something happened.
He'll take that into note and just keep comforting.
Alright, so eventually, maybe 20 minutes later, Fisher comes back up, enters the boat, and you all start rowing toward the edge of the lake. And it does, again, take you a few hours to get there. Do you want to make a perception roll to see how this ride goes?
Fucking yes. I'm not gonna get blindsided by a sunken one while riding back.
I don't think it will matter whether we see it coming or not, but
Alright, well, nonetheless, it's an 18.
18, alright. So, you just keep rowing, and the lake even looks calmer than before. You can swear for a moment that you do see a shimmer of light coming from below the wave, but it only lasts maybe 2 or 3 seconds. But just as the sun is setting, you reach the edge, you reach the shore, you see your cart, and you see a warden there. Tall figure, wearing a black cloak, black hooded cloak, looks exactly like the person who handed you the coin the very first time. And we're gonna end the stream there, just as you are reaching the shore.
right.
Well,
Alright.
Good session, boys. Good session.
well, fucking well.
That escalated so fast. Went from like a boat ride out there to a feeling of unease to like hanging out with like an underwater basically as powerful as a dragon, but not a dragon. But you know, like a spirit of the lake to me literally ripping out, like, I don't even completely know what the metal is, but something connected to, like, an ancient great, like, dark god from a different realm.
All right. Tune in next week to see our paladin become a gulak.
Well, there was a sorceress or a wizard, a female wizard, who came by the first time and told everyone in the village, just leave it alone. It'll heal it by itself. But no one listened, so.
Well, we just ripped off the fucking band-aid.
To be fair, I believe like even with the details that even with the details that were given by audience, I think audience is the only person who knew about that warning.
Yeah, and audience thought she was
Like-
somehow was like the cause of all of it, so he wasn't even like.
I know. This is why I was liking this. Oh, right, cool. You're getting all the wrong conclusions. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then, god damn it. Well, hopefully I didn't just release like a dark god into the world. That now is some connection. That now is some connection to me because it's seen me.
Who knows? You did manage, however, to tie some piece of it to your own personal evolution.
Yeah.
We all know at one point you are going to have to confront your god in some way. This might have actually set that in motion. Who knows? Alright, so thank you everyone for watching. I hope you had a good time. I sure think that our player had a good time. So, see you all again next week, as the group is going to, well, hand in this piece of metal, go back to, well, normal life. The normal life of an adventurer, with maybe one or two new grayscale.
Dude, fucking put me against anything at this point. I don't even fucking care. Just get me out of that, like.
Alright, so see you all next week, I hope. And as always, if you enjoy the show, you can support us. Support the stream by following us on Twitter, Twitch, or YouTube. I also appreciate it very much on YouTube. And of course, you can support the stream by making a donation, becoming a Patreon, or simply by spreading the word of this channel and the wonderful adventure that happens here and these soul-shaking events. Thank you for watching. See you all next Wednesday. Stay safe, and especially in those times right now, stay healthy. Bye.
But.
Good night.